And up here this morning with Killer Beaz. Killer, good to see you, man.
Good to see you, man. What a treat.
Man, we've been knowing you for almost 20 years.
And it has flown by. We have so many great memories of coming to town and getting to hang with you guys. And we haven't changed a bit.
We just all
No, we just try to get out of town now. Every weekend you come in, we just never know when it's going to be. So, dang, they coming this week?
You better stop it. You love hanging out with him.
You started stand-up when?
The last weekend of June 1982
Whoa!
was when I did my first ever stand-up comedy appearance, and that was a 20-minute paid show. Nobody does stand-up their first time for money for 20 minutes. It's
Feel like
usually,
an eternity?
yes, oh my gosh. I had props and stuff, and I had no material. I did stuff off old Richard Pryor albums and Steve Martin.
So you were stealing stuff?
I was stealing stuff. I had no act. I had no idea what to do, but I've been funny since I was a little bitty baby.
Well, what did you do for stand-up?
A bunch of different stuff. I ran 911 emergency calls in an ambulance for 3 years in Jackson, Mississippi. I started that gig when I was a senior in high school. 17 years old, I grew up in a funeral home as well. Here, get this. Fun little story. The earliest memory that I have in my memory banks of a home was I lived in Kosciuszko, Mississippi in a funeral home. My dad was the funeral director and one of them bombers, and we lived in this funeral home. And I had the run of the place. I was like 3 years old. Had the run of the place, and I saw sad people come and go from where I lived every day. Sad. I had no concept of funeral. They were just sad people. And so I learned when I was a little toddler that I could do silly, little cute stuff, and the crying people would quit crying and come over to me and talk to me and smile and stuff. And in my memory, the picture I see, a lady looked like 9 feet tall because I was a little bitty, coming over and smiling, had a Kleenex in her hand and smiling and talking to me. And so I think that all these years of my life is what has fueled my compulsion to make people laugh and smile. I don't do as good around stoic people because I'm afraid there's something wrong. I think we should all get up every day and full of hope that God's given us an excellent day and have faith and act like it's going to be a great day until at least 11:30, noon, when we realize it's going to suck just like yesterday. But I like to be around happy people, and I think that had something to do with it.
That's what I was going to say.
Well, that's probably why we've lasted 20 years, huh?
So, does any performance ever come off where you say, I was really bad tonight?
Bunches of them. Bunches.
But somebody will say, hey, man, I enjoyed that.
And it's the weirdest thing, too, because, when you're the performer up there, you judge it so much different than the people watching it. And spoken word performance is a very fragile art form. And I mean, it's like, unlike playing music where they don't even have to listen to you play a song. They can be sitting there talking.
During the song,
and the song's over, and they'll go, oh, the song's over, yay. Spoken word, stand-up comedy, they have to listen to every single word and follow the storyline, and we need immediate feedback. That's where the timing and the rhythm comes from. So when it's a show that, for whatever reason, and there's a million subtle little reasons that can interrupt people's attention span. So on shows that you're not getting that big pump back, man, it's unnerving. And they're always there. You never quit paying dues. There's always...
Then you feel like everybody's just staring at you?
Correct. And there's always one of those waiting for you. And that's part of how they weed you out. You have to be mentally tough. You got to have scar tissue so that your feelings don't get hurt enough.
Why is it
not to get back up on that stage?
Correct.
A lot of well-known comedians are depressed.
In their real life.
Suicide. You're not.
I don't. Yeah, and I don't really know. I've never had that kind of anxiety and that kind of demons with me. So I don't know how to
Well, you're about the only comedian I know, but I just wanted to ask that question.
But I know a lot of comedians that are brooding and quiet and.
Why are you so you? You're always so happy. I know you got a lovely bride. That's probably most of the reason, but she keeps you on pace.
He's got a good family. He gets to shoot a lot of guns.
Ultra blessed. I'm doing a job that I get to make people laugh and smile. When I worked
Just
in
like you did growing up in the funeral home.
Correct. Well, when I worked in the 911 ambulance, we were owned by a funeral home. So I did funeral home work. I've embalmed people.
What?
I've embalmed. I've done incisions and raised arteries and ligated and sutured.
So all of
So
that
you're
plenty
basically a
of
doctor,
sadness.
too.
You
Do what?
You're basically a doctor, too.
I'm basically a doctor,
Speaking of
too.
that, you're also an excellent shot.
I grew up shooting pistols in competition. Started when I was 10 years old. My mother was a national pistol shooting champion in 1965 with Colt Firearms. So I started
Really?
shooting competition when I was 10
Goodness.
and shot until I was 19 and lost one pistol match in all those years. And my excuse for that is we were in a car wreck on the way to the gun range.
shook you up a
And
little.
we were shook up, and I forgot to shoot one of my rounds, forgot to fire one of my, I
Well,
miscounted my rounds, and if I had hit anywhere on the target, I would have won first place in that.
That's a good excuse.
And so when I was a kid, I was like 12, and I can remember my daddy telling me, you go tell Bobby Cumberland congratulations for winning.
Aw.
And I was devastated because I was very proud of the work I put in to hone my marksmanship skills. But I will
can't
never
win
forget.
everything,
But I will
though.
never forget my dad going, "You go over there right now,
Shake his
tell
hand.
him," because I was all upset.
He's a good dad.
He just like they could look, go over there
Now,
right
were
now.
your
And
parents
I-
also police officers?
my dad was a police officer 32 years. My mom went back to school after having 4 kids and got a PhD in education and taught special ed, which is such a gutsy giving and comparing thing. Theirs was totally a life of service.
Now, when we're talking about your parents, you took a year off comedian tour.
Right,
Come to where
2005.
Your parents were killed in a car accident.
Right.
That's got to be one of the most tragic things probably ever happened to you.
Dude, it is. It is the most tragic thing, and I'll never forget the phone call. You know, just you get a phone call one day and they're both gone, just like that. And so it was a very, very traumatizing and trying
And obviously
thing to
taking
go
that
through.
that year off had to happen because how could you possibly get up on that stage and do and feel? You had
Yeah,
time
there
to
was
grieve. You
nothing
needed time
silly.
to
There was
grieve.
nothing
Yeah.
silly to me for a while
Yeah.
there. And so, and it was so weird, the stuff that you go through during that situation. The wreck was in Atlanta, Georgia. I had relatives in Atlanta that called us and sent us a link to a local TV station that came out and
Covered it.
did a story at the scene of this accident. And they said, y'all get this, they said on that thing, the identification of the victims is being withheld pending notification of the next of kin. And our whole life we hear that phrase,
Yeah.
notifying the next of kin, and all of a sudden that meant me. Holy cow! You know tragedy.
Gives me
You have little
chills,
different
yes.
things that stick in your head. I remember how weird that was to me, that I was that person, the next of kin. Like, wow.
That's seriousness.
So, and so, how do you deal with that without turning to faith? How in the world
I don't know how
do
lost people
you
get
deal
through it.
with that? You know, and that was rock bottom for me, and so learning that I had to trust God to help me get out of that situation, help me recover from that, is where, and that was 2005, that's where really my transformation, I guess, kind of started, and it has helped my career. You know, and you don't fix yourself and get done with it overnight. It's like, you know, you're a work in
Process.
progress, but you got to get started. And so,
And had you
Terry
not-
can tell you that, my corporate can tell you that, man, that it took me to rock bottom.
And you could have gone at that
so-
point in two different directions.
Well, I did go in two
Easily.
different directions. Yeah, you know, you're
you came
lost
back.
there for a little while.
All right,
But I'm one of those lucky, blessed stories.
let's talk about corporate.
Awesome.
Let's talk about corporate.
You refer to your wife, partner, Terry, Miss Terry over there, as corporate. I'm
Slave
assuming
driver.
She
you know.
handles everything, almost.
She does. She does. She is.
Is she a very funny person, or is she always like that?
She is funny, but in a smart aleck way. In a smart mouth, put you down right when you're up on the top of that
Let's give her a
pinnacle.
little credit. You know, I know what it's like with me, with her, and it's hard for them to put up with somebody like us because we're always cracking jokes and making fun of people, smarting off. You may not be that way, but that's kind of the way I am. I would think you would be double what I do. I've been around you.
Bless corporate's heart.
Yeah, cracking ground. So y'all are a team.
Correct.
So how's that work?
Correct. Well, in any team, there's compromise, and you learn as you go through it what each other's strengths are. I often tell people when they're talking about it, I go, well, man, I'm the bullet in the barrel. That's what I do. Corporate aims that shot and it has a good vision of where to send that energy.
She can whip my tail too. My wife's a bodybuilder. Works out pumps, iron, jogs. I don't do anything, y'all. I'm lazy. I bought some tennis shoes the other day. This guy goes, Beaz, how do those shoes feel when you run in them? I said, surprised. If I'm running, my shoes are going, what's chasing us? Give them the money. It's Nana, run. My home turned into a booby trap when I got married. My wife uses my razor to hack through concrete, then she sneaks it back in the soap dish and don't tell me till half my face is peeled off. Y'all been through that? They'll go through the house, there'll be a door sticking, they'll get your razor and plane the top of it down, chop gum out of the poodle's butt hair. Scrape calluses off Nana's big old six-toed feet. Set it back in there. Ah! I used your razor to plow. You know what I learned from my wife? I found out women will smear anything on their face if you can convince them it's good for their skin. Egg whites, oatmeal, chewed up seaweed. If it'll pull a wrinkle out, they'll wallow in it. My wife's into mud mask, does it every night. She's done mud mask every night for the past decade. It's reflex to her now. She don't even realize she'll have it on. She'll be feeling romantic, y'all. She'll come tipping through the den at bedtime in a little negligee looking like a dirt clod in rollers from the neck up. She's like, want to go mudding? Heck yeah, honey, let me lock my hubs in. I'll be right with you. I married Swamp Thing. I love picking on my wife because if you can't torment your loved ones, why have them? I let my kids have a garden in the backyard this year, this little piddling garden in the backyard just so I can stand out there with them, and when my wife comes out I'll say tacky stuff like, go get your daddy a hoe. Mine's wore out. So you got to do stuff together as married couples. My wife and I are learning to golf together. Line up, kick my butt, y'all. Look, golf is a hack you off game. You'll gladly cuss a total stranger on a golf course. You'll kill your spouse. Man, that's what sand traps are for, to hide the body. Hey, they furnish a rake. You ought to see us on the golf course. We're idiots. It's like, honey, Angel, put the gun away. Now, if the ball keeps going way over there, maybe you should turn. Shut up! PMS ain't nothing compared to a par 3 with water. I spent so much time in the rough one day, my ball hatched. Are you my daddy? We were standing on the course. My wife goes, what's that? I said, it's a ball washer. She goes, you got to be tall.
Let's just talk about the Moonshiners.
Months on out.
Tell us a little bit about that show you're on.
Well, that's the Discovery Channel Moonshiners, Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern Time on Discovery Channel. They're in their 9th season. It's a reality show. They follow teams of moonshiners all the way from Virginia into
Well, how'd you get in there?
into Louisiana, and I have a small role on that show. The way it happened, 4 years ago, I was doing a concert in Bristol, Tennessee, and I got a hit on my Twitter feed from from 2 of the cast members on the show who had seen me, do a performance at Zany's Comedy Club in Nashville 20 years earlier.
Wow.
Dude, we're big fans of yours. You're in our neck of the woods. Come see us. Just like that. So I went and hung out with them, hit it off with them. One of the, Mark and Digger are the 2 guys I work with. Digger used to be in the funeral business.
Really?
And so
What
he
are
and
the
I hit it
chances?
off immediately. He's a gun nut.
Oh, wow.
So we hit it off immediately and went and hung out with him. And before we left to go home, he told me, dude, you need to let me teach you how to make moonshine. And I'm thinking, you need to get me on that show. But I didn't
you
say
heard.
it. And so the whole way back to Mobile, Alabama from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, I'm pitching it to corporate.
talking
I
her
need to
into
be
it.
on that show. She's like, no. She's like, you and moonshine.
Nice.
Is that one of the
That's all I
highlights?
need.
Is that one of the highlights of your career?
Yes, it is so, and I've had a lot of highlights, but this is so much fun. The amount of chemistry and physics that goes into it, and we don't judge people this day and age, but we freaking judge people.
Right.
So I went to do this the first time I ever went up there to visit with them to learn to make moonshine. Well, I'm trying to lobby to get on the show.
Now, there's no chance of being arrested.
No.
Okay.
So, Discovery Channel tells us that anything an agent sees on entertainment TV is hearsay evidence.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense.
I need to know that.
They say they can't call a judge and go, I saw a clear liquid dripping in a jar. The
prove
comedian
what it
said it
was.
was moonshine.
Okay.
Because they have no
Do
idea.
you get
what
to
it
drink
was.
any of it?
I'm not allowed to answer that question either.
Do you
He's
get to
never
drink it?
tasted
Hey,
moonshine.
corporate,
Can
look
he,
over,
can he answer that
look,
question?
corporate, look over there.
That stuff, hey, that stuff hits me. The few times I've smelled it, that stuff will get on you quick.
It will get on you quick. It's very undercover. It's covert like that. You have no idea.
There's a lot
what
that
all
goes
does
into it.
corporate have the Beaz empire? What all are you selling? What all you got for sale right now? If somebody wanted to buy from a T-shirt to what all y'all selling?
Right now, T-shirts, CDs, and DVD is what we're selling right now. So I don't have any knick-knack type items, but we're starting to think of different stuff. We could do little moonshine stills, little Killer Bees moonshine shot
Little
glasses or
jugs.
something.
Corporate's
Little
about to
Jones.
nix
It is so,
that.
but we don't want to have inventory around. That's
True.
one thing. We
Well,
don't
You
want-
travel so much, you don't
Yeah.
want to
What
hassle.
would be the ultimate for Killer and Terry Beaz in y'all's business and career?
I like doing.
Besides being on our show a lot.
Yeah. Cooper and Company. We want to hang on to that. I love live performance. I love doing theaters and live performance. I thrive on that. But you get a lot more traction over being on a TV show.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to do Moonshiners as long as I can do that. It is such a great promotional tool, and it is fun. And I don't have to act.
You just be
You just be
yourself
yourself.
around your
Correct,
friends.
correct. So
Well,
when we
doing these
want to,
cruises, you've done almost 200 cruises now. That how'd you get into that?
they hounded me for 10 years, want me to come work their cruise ships, and I really didn't want to go do that. Way back in the day, the pay wasn't up to what it is now, so forth and so on. So
Well, you would
finally,
think
They talked you into
you
it.
would think that would just be for a bunch of has-been people who just want to try to hang on to their career.
and way back,
It
I would
was.
say it was
Okay.
like that. It was people out there who were my
struggling.
opening acts, and it was low money. But then they brought a guy in to do the booking of the comedians that used to book a bunch of us in comedy clubs
Okay.
a quarter century ago. And so he kind of cleaned house and brought in a bunch of the veteran,
Good ones.
really good comedians. There's a lot of 25, 35-year experienced cats out there, and they are
Really?
crushing it, and they've upped the money. So finally they made
Well,
me an
cruise
offer.
industry took off.
Correct. Finally they made me an offer to where if I didn't do it, then I was just being stupid.
Yeah.
And so Carnival
Fantastic.
Cruise Lines has a comedy club called the Punchliner in every one of its ships, and it is the largest comedy club chain in the world.
What?
Great.
Yep.
You
And
president?
so, do what?
You president?
No, man, I'm a beginner. I'm the new guy. I only added that 4 years ago.
So
This
how long did you
cat's
do
been
that?
out there 20 years.
So you've been doing it 4 years? Mm-hmm. You ever have any rough seas?
Yes, we've had very rough seas. We've had some
Very.
rough seas.
Save up. You're cute as a button. Button up. Anyway. There's Nana's girl over there. You make friends when you golf. You meet people. You know who I meet? I meet the folks that live along the golf course because I have to go in their yard to hit my ball. And there's always an icebreaker, something to talk about. Sorry to hit that bird feeder of yours. What I owe you for that? Or does that cat always lay crumpled up like that? That don't look good. Hey guys, check it out. You wouldn't think a golf ball would bust a water pipe. Wow. Now here's me right here. Ma'am, don't try to get up. If it hurts when you turn your head, that could be a concussion. You know what? This is a real pretty kitchen. We use the 20-second rule when we golf. You know what that is, the 20-second rule? If you can run, get your tee shot, and bring it back in 20 seconds, it don't count. Improve your score, get in shape. The Paradise Lakes Nudist Resort wants me to do a show for them. Oh, yeah. Save up! Y'all, there ain't enough money around to get me on stage naked while people laugh. I'd have to have a clip on. A nudist camp, y'all. They don't just sit around and be naked. They have naked activities. Everyday life naked. It's like a little naked community. Imagine your neighborhood on Saturday mornings naked. Ah! Ugly neighbors out cutting the grass naked. Up on a ladder painting naked. You missed a spot, ma'am. You gonna patch that crack? Word of advice now before I get out of here for you married folks. Gentlemen, help out around the house. But learn your place. If you don't know how to cook, for God's sake, don't try to surprise your wife. Recipes were designed to get men killed. If I see Betty Crocker on the street, I'm gonna whip her butt. I'm slapping flour off that big woman. She owes me money. And the kitchen. Now this is true. In the Betty Crocker cookbook, it says word for word, cover the bottom. Y'all, the bottom of the pan with grease. You want to know what the fireman told me? And it's tough telling your wife that her kitchen's on fire. Especially if it's your fault because you're not wanting to use the words. You're saying stuff like, honey, let's go out in the yard and look at the wedding pictures. Bring all your jewelry. And the baby. Bring the baby. No, 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 don't bother your mom. She's laying down. Hey, I'm Killer Beaz. Y'all have been wonderful, man. Thank you. Thank you very much, man. Thank y'all.
Killer Beaz, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I bet you eat good.
So, yeah, and I'm lucky. My status is guest entertainer. So they pay all my flights and stuff. My cabin is free, and they pay me stupid money, and I get to do, I get to do guest areas and crew areas. So when corporate comes with me, we'll eat up at the big buffet or
Wine and dine.
or get a night in the steakhouse or something. Or also, if it's late night, we can go down below decks to the crew area, which is sometimes really, really scary because the crew is from the Philippines and Indonesia and
You're from Alabama.
Serbia, and I'm from Alabama. So we went one night down there. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I had to do a bunch of shows that night in a row. Didn't have anything to eat. Went down to eat something. So we go through this little buffet line, and it's like stuff from their villages. There's like fish heads.
Really?
There's something else chopped up that you don't know what it is. We're like, oh my gosh. And of course, you know, we're not big giant tall people, but Corp is a pretty blonde-headed girl, and the people from the Philippines and stuff aren't quite as tall. So we stick out in the crowd. So we're in there and everybody's looking at us like that. We're like, oh my gosh. So we're like, I gotta tell you this. So we go through the little buffet line. We say, oh, there's rice.
plate?
Good, there's some rice. We get some of the rice. We're like, oh my gosh. So then we look, Lord be praised, end of the little line, there's beef tips and some gravy. Let's put this on our rice.
Was that really beef tips?
So we go sit down. We forgot napkins. I tell Corbett, let me go get napkins. I come back, and she has this mortified look on her face. Jamie, she's trying to chew something. Right, tears. I go, what? She goes, I don't know what's in my mouth. And they're all looking at her. So I go,
And you don't want to offend somebody.
I go, you can't
spit
spit that out because this is what
Just
they
grab your
eat at
towel
home.
and-
So finally, so I look over the little thing, and it's hearts.
No way.
It's a bunch of little hearts and brown
Oh.
gravy. I don't know if it was chicken hearts
Or livers or whatever.
what, but it was little
Man, I can
organs.
feed you some rooster fries. You know what those are, don't you?
Nuts.
Rooster testicles.
Yeah,
That's
so-
good. See, you know all them
So,
stuff.
So not even a good flavor?
So finally she had to go.
Yeah. Wow. So that ended going with the crew.
So that, yeah, so
You always
there's
went
Do you
that.
ever
upstairs.
have a problem when you get out there in front of a crowd, just freeze or just say, you know what, I don't have it tonight.
I go blank every show I do.
You got it on your hand.
I have had stage fright my entire career.
How do you get over that?
But do what?
How do you do it if you do?
Suck it up and keep going. That's part of
Every
the art
show?
form is to not let people know you're wigging. That's part of the art form. So what if I go out there and I'm only mediocre? I'd be
So what if you
embarrassed.
get out there and right away there's a good heckler?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
You struggle more.
How good would you say the comedy of Killer Beaz is?
Real good.
A
I'd have to
plus
go
good.
real good. I'm not the best in the world, but I'm real good at it. I'm blessed. I've got a great gift, and I've really, really worked hard. So I'm a good
So you're
comedian.
taking advantage of what God gave you.
Correct. I would venture to say I'm great at stand-up. I'm not the best. You know, there's a
But
lot
you're
of
up
great
there
guys
with a
out
lot
there,
of
but
great ones.
put over half my life into it, and I care about how that stage show turns out. I care about that. It's a big deal to me to not do a mediocre show. Everybody in that showroom needs to
Paid
be
those
in a
tickets.
little pile of goo when I get done. I did a show in Zany's, Nashville, one of my shows, sold out show, balconies full, packed, crushing, except for one guy sitting right there just doing that. And I could not stand it. Man, I'm looking him in the eye, I'm good, best material, bam, 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 call back, tagline, this and that, and he just sits there. So I get done, standing ovation, get done, I'm back in the green room pouting. Everybody, dude, great show.
Over
But
one
this
person.
guy
One person.
This guy, they're like, dude, are you insane? Yes, I'm insane, because that guy just said, there's a knock on the green room door. I open it, and that guy, he goes, I can't do accents, but you did very good. I am from France. They couldn't understand. Oh, okay.
Why is it that one person? I mean, you know, if you
Yeah.
do a show like we've done all these years, and then all of a sudden you
Get
get one
one
complaint.
complaint.
What are you thinking about?
That
One
one
complaint.
Yeah, and I fretted for an hour up there, and then was livid in the green room.
And he got most of it right in front of us.
Yeah.
How much longer can corporate and Killer Beaz keep going with doing what you're doing?
I would love
Because
to
you're
go.
in great shape in your
I
mind.
I would love to go 4 or 5 more years because it's so much fun to me. I love doing it, and I love doing it at the level that I do it on. And I still think there's more levels I can go up. But I will admit it's starting to get kind of tedious. All the travel.
Now you've got, I know you have a lot of friends here in Athens and Huntsville, but in the shows area too. But each town, I'm assuming you and corporate would go in. You have friends like that in those towns too.
Regulars.
That you see like us.
Right. Well, because a lot of the markets I go to, I've been in for over 30 years. So.
And he has a lot of media friends too, because they're going to all the media outlets.
Yeah, we
and
do lots
meet
of
great
media.
people.
Yeah, and that's something that the newer comics aren't as inclined to do, is to go do all the media, and that's helped us out
Grand Ole
tremendously.
Opera? Do you do Grand Ole
Oh,
Opera?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, corporate.
Corporate I did the Grand Ole Opera.
Yeah, I know you got to be
January 4th.
somewhere, so I'm about to wrap it up. Don't be rushing me.
Yeah.
She wanted to get Grand Ole Opera.
My debut
Yeah.
appearance was January 4th on the Grand Ole Opry, and so went really, really good. And now they've invited me back, so I will do 2
I'm assuming that's a clean.
Opry. I will do 2 Opry appearances on March 31st.
And that's not a
Awesome.
problem for him. He has clean
March
acts. He
31st.
has
Are
full
those-
are those at
adult
night?
acts.
Yes.
Well, maybe we can make one of
Matt
these
Joe's
guys.
going.
Great.
He's got tickets already. He'll be at the early show on March 31st. So, and
maybe
it's
we'll
easy
go.
for me to
Yeah.
work clean because way back in the day, when I was living in Nashville, I was doing all those shows on TNN and CMT. I did 100 appearances on TNN. And so, and all that is a strictly clean.
All right, we're getting ready to wrap this up here with the legendary Killer Beaz, one of our awesome friends from 20 years, he and his lovely wife, Terry. What is it, Killer, that people need to know about you and your personality that they don't know?
Ooh.
Well, I'm not as flippant in real life as I appear to be when I'm doing appearances or doing my show. Having done that work in that ambulance for those years, I was the youngest person in the state of Mississippi to do it. I landed that gig when I was 17.
What?
I was a bone crusher, dude. And so seeing
That's a grown-up position.
seeing the consequence of actions. It was a big deal, and so
That could be life
That
altering.
really did have, seeing all those depressed people, wrecks, dying, whatever, had a big impact on your life and career as being a successful comedian.
yep. And so that's something people don't know about me is that I have that scar tissue, if you will, or that experience, or that
Or that softness around the heart.
awareness, or all of the
Could be
above.
softness around the heart.
But,
We
too.
just go
You
ahead
have a
and both of us
heart.
will say congratulations, you and Terry both,
Yeah.
for being friends of ours for 20 years and also for
Working
being
so
Anybody
hard.
can work together like that and be entrepreneurs, as I call it, as we are.
Yeah,
We did it
that's
ourselves.
Correct.
Y'all are the same way we are, except a lot more successful.
You sell
But,
yourself.
It's always a pleasure. I've never seen you in a bad mood. You're always great. You're one of the greatest people that, you know. we've ever
Well,
hung out with.
same to you, man.
Enjoy.
I value our friendship over the 20 some
that?
odd
21
years,
years.
man. And when we first came up here, we hit it off with y'all immediately because you remind us of us,
Right.
so to speak.
Well, congratulations to you and corporate both, and
Corporate.
look forward to having you back in the Huntsville, Athens area soon. This is Killer Beaz.
Save up.
Save up. See y'all.